A regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District will be held Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024, beginning at 5:30 p.m. at the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom Administration Building of the McAllen Independent School District, 2000 North 23rd Street, McAllen, Texas, 78501. Items listed on this agenda may be taken in an order other than that shown on this agenda. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. At this meeting, there may be discussion and action by the board on the items and subjects listed as follows. Item number 1, call the meeting to order. I have done so at 5:30 p.m. Number 2, a moment of silence. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. And item number 3, Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Okay, I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Technology is great till it's not. Item number 4, public comments. We have 3, and we have a short video.
Here are the public comment procedures. Number 1, individuals who wish to participate during the portion of the meeting designated for public comment shall sign up at McAllenISD.org at least 1 hour prior to the start of the scheduled meeting. Number 2, an individual's comments to the board shall not exceed 2 minutes per meeting. Number 3, the board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. Thank you.
Información a personas para comentarios públicos. Número 1. Las personas que deseen participar durante la parte de la reunión designada por comentarios públicos deberán registrarse en McAllenisd.org al menos 1 hora antes del inicio de la reunión programada. Número 2. Los comentarios de un individuo a la Junta no excederán de 2 minutos por reunión. Y por último, número 3. La Junta no tolerará la perturbación de la reunión por parte de los miembros del público asistente. Gracias.
Our first speaker tonight is Alondra Cantu. Ms. Cantu. Mark, I'm going to go ahead to the next one, and if she happens to show up. Our next speaker will be Melba Silva. Yeah.
Yeah, they signed quite some time ago.
And we'll also wait, maybe check on them in a bit. And our third speaker, Sylvia Tanguma. You know the routine, Ms. Tanguma. We've got 2 minutes and we won't interrupt you.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, President Peña, Dr. Gutierrez, and trustees. I am here to speak on behalf of over 1,000 McAllen AFT members that AFT represents. I have already spoken with the issue with Dr. Gutierrez and Ms. Nino, and I want to thank you for your time. I have also reached out to several of our board members, and thank you to those of you that know that you've reached back out to me. I want to thank you for your time as well. The reason for this public comment is to speak on behalf of the elementary and secondary teachers that are feeling burned out. And I greatly fear, after listening to many of them, we will continue to lose good teachers district-wide if there isn't a change. Teacher morale seems to be at a low, and they are stressed, they are tired, and they are asking for help. My focus right now will be on elementary changes that were thrown at teachers the first week of school as we came back. Making a change from 7:45 to 7:30 may not seem like much to anyone, considering it is only 15 minutes. But when you are not expecting it and teachers have their own children to drop off at different campuses, those mere 15 minutes have become dreadful. Throughout the district, elementary campuses have different requirements for their teachers. Some have to bring kids into their classroom and watch them there. Others have to start breakfast at 7:30, while others have to start tutoring at 7:30. There is no coming in to make copies anymore or using the restroom for many of those teachers. Below are some of the comments from teachers that are parents that have been affected by this greatly. There have been many changes in our district that have caused me to get very burned out, and the 6 weeks is not even over. I have looked into possibly changing my profession, which is something I do not want to do because I love teaching children. Because of the workload, the weekly mandatory faculty meetings, which last until 5:15, tutorials until 5:15, and other issues. Our conference period is not sufficient enough to complete all that is required. Therefore, I work during lunch and try to catch up.
Thank you, Ms. Tancuma.
You're welcome. So what the teachers want to do is they are hoping that someone is listening. They don't want to move districts. Many of them are saying, get teacher input before changes are made that are going to affect us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item, yeah.
President, I would like to reorganize the agenda and move up item 11C1.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Aliceda and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor of moving item 11C1 up signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 6-0. And we are on to item 11C1, report regarding the McAllen Education Foundation. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, Madam President and Board of Trustees, the McAllen Education Foundation provides support to help foster excellence and enhance educational opportunities for students in McAllen ISD. They will host their third annual MEF bowling tournament on February the 22nd, 2025. Mr. and Mrs. Patel and Ms. Christine Wallace will share more information. This item is for information purposes only. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gutierrez. Friends, trustees. Do we want to play the video first, maybe? That'll be a quick video about MEF, and I can elaborate a bit.
The McAllen Education Foundation proudly supports teachers.
Since 1996, the foundation has funded innovative teacher grants worth more than $550,000.
And benefited close to 60,000 of our students.
These grants allow us to explore our imaginations and open new worlds for our students.
They even help kids participate in a study abroad program in Spain.
But they cannot do it for free.
They raise funds by hosting a bowling tournament and helping with the superintendent's golf tournament.
And we appreciate those sponsors who made it happen.
You can help too by donating at the McAllen Education Foundation website.
The foundation is a group of philanthropic citizens who care.
They care about students and teachers.
They care about our community.
Thank you, McAllen Education Foundation, for all that you do.
Okay. Thank you. So that was a little bit about the foundation itself. The number that they mentioned there, $550,000, that was since 1996. 1996. I'm sorry. Yeah, close to 30 years from now. And of that, $150,000 was raised just this past year, or this year rather. And so that actually doubled the amount we raised the year before. And this year we had, when we opened our application process in September for our grants, we received double the applications that we did last year. So now we have 70 grants that we've got to review. And it actually looks like we've got enough funding to approve them all. Now it really just comes down to, we work together with the administration to make sure that they're all feasible, that they align with a curriculum, and if they don't, then they're still relevant. So these are like really niche programs based on the teachers' observations of what's needed, in order to kind of round up their teaching. So it's really interesting stuff. So in the past, you might have seen videos about chess programs, robotics programs. This year, we got applications for special needs programs, language programs. So there's a wide range of things. And with 70 of them, I'm sure you can imagine just how, the breadth of everything that we receive. I'll just go through my notes. Okay, I actually sped through that really fast, so I won't be wasting much of your time now. So we have our bowling tournament coming up. It's on February 22nd. That's a September. I mean, that's a Saturday. I'm sorry, and it's going to happen at Flamingo Bowl. It's a bowling tournament for faculty and staff. I know many of you were there, if not all, last year, or this year rather. I keep forgetting. Thank you for that, and we'll have cash prizes just as we did last year. A little bit about our board. We're all volunteers, business people, parents, former educators, all very passionate about spending every penny on these programs. So we're very excited about the upcoming tournament. We've got a jump start on, or head start rather, on fundraising now. So we've already started that, and we've got a good lead. And so we hope to see some of y'all's contributions come in from some of your businesses. We've also got posters here, and we'd like to leave them. We'll leave them right here, but please grab one and put them at your places of work. You'll see them pop up all over town. And I want to thank also Christine Wallace, who Dr. Gutierrez introduced, and my wife Priyanka, who are on the fundraising committee, who are in charge of basically all things bowling tournament. I'm just their mouthpiece. Did I forget anything? Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Christine, you made it in just in time.
Did you have any questions?
I have no question, but just a comment. I want to thank you guys and the rest of the MEF board because y'all worked so hard. I was sitting on the board last year with Trustee De La Garza and Ali Seda, and y'all do so much. I actually love that you're speaking here tonight because I would love to bring more awareness and engagement in what you do because it's so important, just like the video for our teachers and staff and programs and students and everyone in our district and community. So thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Item number 5, public hearing. Public hearing for the school financial integrity rating system of Texas School First. Dr. Gutierrez.
For the 21st time in 22 years, McAllen ISD has received the state's highest mark by the Texas Education Agency School First, which stands for Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. Ms. Lorena Garcia, our Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operation, will tell us more about this. This is for information purposes only. Go ahead.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, and Dr. Gutierrez. Tonight's public hearing on the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, School First, is for 23-24, but it is based on fiscal year 22-23. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss the McAllen Independent School District, Texas Financial Accountability Rating. At the conclusion of the presentation, we will have an opportunity for the public or the board to provide comments or questions. As Dr. Gutierrez mentioned, McAllen ISD did receive an A for superior achievement, which is the highest rating that the state bestows for financial integrity. And we'll be discussing a few topics as they relate to the first rating. First, we want to talk about the objectives. And one objective is to implement a rating system that fairly and equitably evaluates the quality of management decisions. It also provides an analysis tool for assessment and the ability to report publicly on this assessment. The data that is reported comes from our audited annual financial report. It also is available in the Public Education Information Management System that is both items are publicly available. The goals are to strengthen fiscal accountability, improve performance in the management of finances, and facilitate effective and efficient use of our resources. There's 21 indicators in total. In 2023, the commissioner did change the indicators that are being implemented. They were increased from 20 to 21, and a ceiling indicator was introduced. A negative response in any of 4 critical indicators would result in a district receiving a rating of F, which is substandard achievement. A negative response to any of the ceiling indicators would basically cap the number of points that a district can receive. And then a negative response to all 6 ceiling indicators would also result in an F. So these are the rules. And the determination of the rating, the school district has to pass the 4 critical indicators, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And those are the annual financial report has to be filed within 30 days from the November 27th deadline. And then also, other than the district must have received an unmodified opinion and no material weaknesses in the financial audit. The district also should not have defaulted on any debt payments or payroll-related payments. So failing any of these indicators would result in an F. And then the scoring is A, B, C, and F, and it ranges from 90 to 100 points. The district thankfully received 100 points, which is the maximum. And the ceiling indicators are those presented on this table. And what that does is, for example, indicator number 4, if payments were not made on time, then the maximum points that a district can earn is 95 points. So you automatically get docked 5 points. And indicator 6, the maximum that a district can receive is a B, and so forth. So that is the difference between the ceiling indicators. We'll go on and discuss the different indicators. Number 1, as mentioned, is a critical indicator, and was the district's annual financial report filed timely with the Texas Education Agency? And yes, it was. Was there an unmodified opinion in the annual financial report on the financial statements as a whole? And an unmodified opinion is what you want to receive, meaning that the audit was successful. And yes, the opinion expressed by the auditors on the June 30th, 2023 was unmodified, which is the highest level of assurance meeting this indicator. Was the district in compliance with payment terms of all debt agreements at the fiscal year end? And yes, the district was in compliance. Did the district make timely payments to the teacher retirement system, the Texas Workforce Commission, Internal Revenue Service, and any other government agencies? And yes, McAllen ISD was successful in fulfilling these obligations. Was the total net position in the governmental activities column in the statement of net position, net of accretion of interest for capital appreciation bonds, net pension liability, and other post-employment benefits greater than 0? And that is a mouthful. McAllen ISD's net position in the governmental activities in the statement of net position was $315 million, over $350 million, which is greater than 0. So we absolutely definitely met this indicator. Was the average change in assigned and unassigned fund balances over 3 years less than a 25% decrease, or did the district's current year assigned and unassigned fund balances exceed 75 days of operating expenditures? And this is why we closely monitor the fund balance. This is something we talked about yesterday. And yes, the district did comply with that indicator. Was the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures, excluding facilities acquisition and construction? And the district's number of days of cash on hand was a little bit over 139 days, which is definitely sufficient to cover the operating expenditures. Was the measure of current assets to current liability ratios for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debt? The district received the maximum points. The current liabilities ratio is 3.7341, and we needed to meet a target amount of 3.0. Did the school district's general fund revenues exceed expenditures, excluding facilities and acquisition? If not, was the school district number of days of cash on hand greater than or equal to 60 days? And the district number of days of cash on hand was 139, greater than the 60 days. For indicator number 10, it's currently not being evaluated, so all districts received the 10 points. Was the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient to support long-term solvency? The long-term liabilities to total assets ratio is 19.42%, which was sufficient to support the long-term solvency. What is the correlation between future debt requirements and the district's assessed property value? The correlation between future debt requirements and the district's assessed property value is that McAllen ISD's debt per 100 dollars assessed property value was adequate to support our debt repayments. Was the school district's administrative cost ratio equal to or less than the threshold ratio? And it was at 7.93%, which is below the ratio of 8.5 that they set. Did the school district not have a 15% decline in student to staff ratio over 3 years total enrollment to total staff? And the student to staff ratio declined by 6.5% over 3 years, which is less than the allowable 15% threshold. Indicator 15 is not being evaluated, and every district received 5 points. Number 16 did the comparison of the PEIMS data, the Public Education Information Management System, to the information that the school district's annual financial report provided. Was there a variance of less than 3% of all expenditures by function? And no, there was no variance between what was reported in both PEIMS and the annual financial report, successfully meeting the indicator. Did the external independent auditor report that the annual financial report was free of any instances of material weakness in internal controls over financial reporting and compliance for local, state, or federal funds, and free from substantial doubt about the school's ability to continue as a going concern? The annual comprehensive financial report was free of instances of material weakness in internal controls, so thus meeting that silly indicator. Did the external independent auditor indicate that the annual financial report was free of any instance of material non-compliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, and federal funds? And the annual comprehensive financial report was free of any instances of material non-compliance for our grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, or federal funds. Indicator 19, did the school district post the required financial information on its website in accordance with the government code, local government code, Texas Education Code, Texas Administrative Code, and other statutes, laws, and rules that were in effect at the school district's fiscal year end? And in fact, the district did post the required information in a timely manner. Did the school district's administration and school board members discuss any changes or impact to local, state, and federal funding at a board meeting within 120 days before the district adopted its budget? And this is discussed at the budget workshops. So one of the workshops where this was discussed was in May 18, 2022. And then finally, indicator number 21, did the school district receive an adjusted repayment schedule for more than one fiscal year for an over-allocation of foundation school funds because of financial hardship? And of course, that was not the case. McAllen ISD did not receive an adjustment repayment schedule. So the district did meet that ceiling indicator. And all of this is based on the Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 109 for disclosures. The information is found in our annual financial accountability management report. And this concludes the presentation part of the hearing. At this time, I would like to open it up for comments, if anybody has any questions.
Good work.
We also have a copy of the first rating report. This is also will be available on our website. So if anybody would like a copy, Ms. Iris Luna, our Chief Financial Officer, has extra copies.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for providing that copy as well.
Thank you.
I just want to thank the Business and Operations Department, the Curriculum and Instruction Department, and everyone for this perfect score. And Ms. Luna, thank you. As you're leaving as our CFO, retiring in December, and you're leaving us with a perfect score, and that says a lot about your work and the department and everyone. So thank you.
We're not approving your leave.
No.
Okay, well, can we conclude the public hearing now?
Yes.
Yes. So thank you for that report, and we appreciate all the hard work. This concludes the public hearing, And we will move on. Before we move on to item 6, I would like to recognize a UTRGV student who's here observing the meeting as part of a class assignment, Mr. Arián de la Fuente. Thank you for joining us. We hope you learn a lot. Item 6A, Superintendent's Report. 6A, Entrepreneurship Students Share Their Passion.
Students in our incubator program have the opportunity to get involved in a hands-on experience in which they conceptualize a good or service and bring it to fruition. One group from James Nicky Rowe High came up with a high-energy gummy product called Boosties. It won first place in McAllen ISD and the RGB Student Showcase last year. Recently, they presented to a group of local business leaders, and we have a short video on that. Can you please play the video this time?
This program is done through a process that we worked with. It's called Incubator. The biggest part of it is that we are looking for partners in our area that want to help our kids to become entrepreneurs, right? Show them the highs and the lows and everything in between as to what they can do to create their own business. And then once they create it, hopefully, make our community better.
So our group name is Boosties, and that is also the name of our small business. And its purpose is to help people in the valley stay healthy. This group has it's pushed me to have even more drive than I already had. So it's really helped me grow my love and my ambition for business. And I'm even deciding to major in that when I continue my education in college.
Great program. Item 6B, the Gold campaign highlights awareness. Dr. Gutierrez.
September was National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and McAllen ISD joined the Greater Gold Foundation for the annual Gold campaign. This is an annual campaign to raise awareness about childhood cancer. These events took place at our football games for McAllen High School, Memorial, and Rowe. Here's a short highlight video. Go ahead.
Thank you. Item 6C, Roosevelt student with dyslexia recognized for his achievement.
A 5th grader at Roosevelt Elementary recently completed a learning program to the point that he's now ready for 6th grade work. Despite his dyslexia, he's doing very well. He was featured in The Monitor and on Channel 5 News. We also have a short video on this success story. Go ahead and play the video.
Today we're celebrating one of our students that has passed 21 dyslexic levels. The program is called Lexia Core 5. When he started the program, he was below reading grade level. He was in 1st grade. And now he's reading above reading grade level, which he is a 5th grader, and now he's reading 6th grade material. So as of right now, he is working on the program Power Up, which is a middle school program that is offered here at McAllen ISD, and he's already advancing and showing his success in the programs.
Ever since last year, he was trying to catch up to finish it before the year would end. But as soon as the year started, since the first day, he started doing everything from home. Like he would leave his Pokemon on the side and go to his tablet to do the reading along and everything. And it was a big thing when he finished it.
I felt a little confused when I first started, but right now I feel very accomplished because now it's very easy for me to understand reading. We really want to make the world dyslexic friendly for people not to bully any people who are dyslexic or make fun of them just because of how they read or anything really.
So good, so good. Item 7, recognitions. We have none. Item 8, proclamations. We have none. Number 9, donations. We have none. Number 10, consent items 10A through 10E. 10A through 10E, do I?
Yes, ma'am. I'll make a motion to approve 10A through 10E.
Second.
I have a motion from Trustee Rivera and a second from Trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 6-0. Okay, we move on to item 11, instructional services, instructional leadership, human resources, business and operations, and Board of Trustees items. 11A, instructional services. 11A1, report regarding bilingual ESL and foreign language departments. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration will provide a report on the bilingual ESL and foreign languages department and dual language program. Mrs. Rocio Nava, our Director for Bilingual ESL and Foreign Languages Department, will share more information on her department, and this is an information purposes only agenda item. Go ahead, Ms.
Yes, good evening, Madam President, board members, and Dr. Gutierrez. My name is Rocio Nava, Director for the Bilingual ESL Department, and I'll be providing our summary report. Starting with our mission statement, in our department, we're committed to make sure that our emerging bilingual students are supported and provided an equitable educational opportunity that addresses their affective linguistic and cognitive needs. We make sure that our students participate in academically challenging programs that embrace and build upon their cultural and linguistic backgrounds. And this is who we are in our department. I am very blessed and grateful to work with this amazing team that is dedicated and committed to support our emerging bilingual students and make sure they're successful. So who are the emerging bilingual students? Are students who are identified in need of linguistic supports because they're in the process of acquiring the English language. And it takes about 5 to 7 years for a student to acquire the English language. So this graph represents our student population in the district. 35% of them approximately are identified as emerging bilingual students. 34% of them participating in the different linguistic programs that we offer. 6% of them are identified monitor students, which means that they were at one point emerging bilingual and now they reclassified as English proficient students. And if we take a closer look to our emerging bilingual student population, we can see that 50% of our EB students are identified and serve at the elementary level, 22% at the middle school level, and 28% at the high school level. And within our emerging bilingual students, we also have some students that are served through the special education department, 504 department, and GT identified as well. So our emerging bilingual students come from different language backgrounds, 20 different language backgrounds in our district, most of them from the Spanish-speaking background, but we do have 19 other languages for our emerging bilingual student population. And in our state of Texas, we are required to serve our emerging bilingual students following these 4 steps, starting by the identification step, which starts with a home language survey to identify the language background of the student, coupled with a language proficiency assessment. That information is gathered by the LPAC committee, which is the Language Proficiency Assessment Committee at each one of the campuses, that is responsible to identify if the student is an emerging bilingual student or not. If identified as an emerging bilingual student, they recommend placement in the BEST program that we have in our district to meet their needs. And they're monitored until they're reclassified and they demonstrate that they're English proficient. Once they're English proficient, they reclassify by meeting the state criteria. And we continue monitoring them for 2 additional years to make sure that they're still being successful academically after the linguistic supports have been removed. And these are the 5 linguistic programs that we offer. Out of the 6 approved by the state, we offer the bilingual early exit program at the elementary level. We have our dual language 1-way and 2-way at 7 elementary campuses, Fossil Middle School, Achiever Early College High School, and our learning centers and Head Start. And we have our ESL content-based, which is the English as a second language program model in elementary, and ESL pull-out at the secondary campuses. This is a graph that has the number of students participating in each one of the different programs in our district. We also offer foreign language courses in our district at the middle school and at the high school level. So in middle school, we have our dual language program at Fossum Middle School. And here we offer the Spanish language arts in 6th grade. We offer Spanish high school classes, with Spanish 1, 2, and 3, also for dual language students. And then we have our IB NYP program at De Leon Middle School. So we offer the Spanish language acquisition classes for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And in our high school, we have courses in Spanish, French, and American Sign Language. Spanish is offered in all the high schools, French in the comprehensive, and American Sign Language in McAllen Memorial. Here are some of our supports that are provided in our department to make sure our students are being successful linguistically, academically. For our students, we provide different supports, and I apologize, I'm not sure what happened to the slide. But we offer instructional resources and instructional software to support our emerging bilingual students at the different levels, language development camps, summer programs, enrichment camps, instructional support staff to support the success of our students. For our staff, we offer different support, starting by our compliance component, which is the Language Proficiency Assessment Committee, making sure they have the tools, the resources, and the information to be able to provide the correct services for our students. We have professional learning in different areas, instructional resources, instructional planning, curriculum support, instructional technology, stipends for our bilingual teachers, on-site support and coaching, instructional software, and supports for our teachers that are in need of their bilingual and ESL certification through the courses that are offered to help them get ready, and also reimbursement for test-associated costs to help them get their bilingual and ESL certification. And one of the key components in our student success is our parents or families. So we offer different supports throughout the school year to help our parents and families of our emerging bilingual students. So we have supports that help with academic language development and emotional resources in our community, in our district, and at the region. And we connect them to those resources to help them provide the right supports for their students and help them be successful. And we also have different events in collaboration with Region 1, with TEA, and also district-initiated events for our parents. So all of that with our goal in mind and making sure that our students are successful. So here we have a graph that compares the performance of our students against the state and the region in 3 of the indicators in Domain 3, which is part of our state accountability. The first one is the English language progress, which measures the English language progress of our emerging bilingual students through the TELPAS assessment, which is a language proficiency assessment in our state. And we can see that our students perform above the region and above the state in this indicator, as well as in the academic achievement components for reading and mathematics. We look at the performance of our EB students and monitor students performing and meets or masters in their state assessment. And our students were also above the region and above the state in these indicators. And there's many reasons to celebrate, but some of the ones that I would like to share with you tonight is as part of our dual language program in elementary, our 5th graders have the ability to earn a Spanish 1 high school credit at the end of their 5th grade dual language participation if they meet the criteria set by the state. So this past year, we had 33 dual language students that earned their Spanish 1 high school credit at the end of 5th grade. So we're very proud of them. We also have dual language students in Fossum participate at the Rice Tapia camps at Rice University. So they have different competitions with other students across the state. And our dual language students brought a 2nd and a 3rd place in the algorithm category this past summer. So we also participate in the UTRGB Torneo de Ortografía, which is similar to a Spanish spelling bee, but it's about ortografía, grammar. So out of the 4 categories, we brought the 1st place at the high school level. We brought 1st and 4th place at the middle school level, and 2nd place at the elementary level. And we also had 209 seniors graduating with the biliteracy acknowledgement at the end of last year. And we have seen an increased participation year after year in our parent and family and community engagement events, which is great because we know that the more resources we provide for our families, the better they're going to do on our students as well. And the last item that I would like to celebrate and thank is our amazing teachers. We have great teachers in our district that are very knowledgeable and passionate about serving our emerging bilingual students. So two groups of teachers, one help us develop a dual language program implementation guide at the elementary level with practical resources and strategies and application on how they could implement the elementary dual language program, and they presented to their colleagues as well. And we also had another group of teachers that help us update our 7 Steps to a Language-Rich Classroom guide, which is used by all the teachers in our district to support our emerging bilingual students in their classes. And we're all in to support our emerging bilingual students to make sure that they are successful. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank our amazing campus administrators, our teachers, and of course our district level staff, that without them we wouldn't be able to do anything, and with them we're able to make sure that our students are successful. So this concludes my presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions, comments? Thank you for all the hard work. It's really nice that we can offer dual language and all the other different languages. I'm curious, why don't we do American Sign Language at Nicky Rowe? Is it a campus decision?
It hasn't been it has to do with interest in student participation and also staff available to teach the program. So right now we only have it at those 2 campuses. We can certainly look into expanding to Rowe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I thank you for everything, and I think you're right about all the amazing things that biliteracy and biculturalism and bilingualism bring to our community and the nation. We're moving in a direction where it's like a huge asset to have for future jobs and future positions. So any way that we can invest in these programs and teacher preparation is really moving in the right direction. But I appreciate all that you guys do to help sustain multiple languages in our community.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 11B, instructional leadership items, none. 11C, human resources items, we have none. 11C1, we've already covered. 11D, business and operations. 11D1, report regarding taxes collected for the quarter of July through September 2024. Dr. Gutierrez.
Ms. Lorena Garcia, our Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operations, will report on the taxes collected by the Hidalgo County Tax Office on behalf of McAllen ISD for the quarter of July through September of 2024. This item is for information purposes only. Go ahead.
Good evening. In our packet, we do have a report for each one of the months. The first one is the taxes collected for July. And our 2024 tax roll is not yet available at that time of the reporting, but however, we do have information on 2023 and prior years collections. The percent collected was negative 2.1 for 24-25 in comparison to 23-24, 6.59. So we did have a decrease on that. And collection for August. It's a similar situation where our 23 and prior years collections original tax levy is 7.652 million, and collections at the time for the period ending in August 2024 is 7.39%, a little bit less than the 23-24 collected, which was at 12.50. We also are reporting on the September report. And our 23 and prior years, we're reporting a collection percentage of 10.79, and prior year was 15.46. And these are our 3 reports for the quarter. Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. And 11D2, discussion and possible action Discussion and possible action on request for proposal number 2025-1000, voluntary supplemental insurance products and related services. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration solicited proposals from vendors for the voluntary and supplemental insurance products. Mr. Andres Silva, our Director for Employee Benefits and Safety Risk Management, is available to answer questions. We are recommending action on this item as per the recommendations of the committee. Go ahead, Mr. Silva.
Good evening, Madam President, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Gutierrez. I'll be sharing some information on the recommendations related to this RFP on voluntary services. The district provides employees the opportunity to enroll in 8 benefits on a voluntary basis. These benefits are 100% employee paid. The RFP on a 3-year cycle expires December 31st, 2024. So this RFP is for a continuation of those benefits for a 3-year period. This is for 7 of the 8 benefits. The 8th benefit, which is disability, will be considered separately in an item here next to this one. Over the course of several weeks, a benefit review committee reviewed the proposals. The committee is comprised of campus and department staff, and the recommendations that I'll be discussing today are found in Attachment A, so I'll ask you to refer to Attachment A of your packet. So in Attachment A, if you'll see, for the Vision product, the recommended top-ranked vendor is Aflac with Davis Vision. The assigned service agent is Salazar Insurance Group. In terms of the benefits, the Davis Vision is the current provider, so there'll be no change in benefits. There'll also be no change in cost. As far as the cancer plan, the top-ranked vendor was Colonial Life. The assigned service agent would be Salazar Insurance Group. Again, this is the current provider, so it's the same carrier, same benefit, and same cost. The hospital indemnity, the current group is United Healthcare. The servicing agent would be Salazar Insurance. The benefits would be the same, however, the cost would be lower. This group lowered their rates by about 10%. In terms of the whole life, the recommended top-ranked vendor is Texas Republic Life. The service agent, again, is Salazar Insurance Group. This is a new carrier. It has comparable plan, potentially lower cost based on attained age and coverage level. As an example, for a 45-year-old with a $50,000 face value life insurance policy, the cost would be $48.08 as compared to the current group of $59.25. The next item there is the accident. The top-ranked vendor was the Hartford. The assigned service agent would be RJG Retirement Services. This is a new carrier. This has higher benefits than the current expiring plan, and it comes at a lower cost, about 25% reduction in the cost as compared to the current plan. The next benefit is the legal plan. The recommended top-ranked vendor was Prepaid Legal Services. The assigned service agent was RJG Retirement Services. This is a new carrier with comparable benefits, and they have an advantageous composite rate. So whether you're an employee or a family, it's the same cost, and it's about 48 cents less than the current plan. The last provider there is for group term life and AD&D. The top-ranked vendor was Blue Cross Blue Shield with Dearborn National. The assigned service agent would be Keith & Keith. This is a new carrier. This does come at a higher cost for both the spouse and the employee rates at about 16% increase. The child term rates remain the same as did the AD&D. In terms of the service agents, I'd like to point out that all the service agents that are being assigned are proposing some level of value-added services. The Salazar Insurance Group, for example, in addition to the day-to-day servicing of the account, will be providing the enrollment platform. That's the software system that we'll use to enroll, to track the benefits, to enroll new hires, and to provide information to all the carriers from one single source. They'll be extending the telemedicine benefit again. That's a benefit that we have had for at least the last 3 years. Unlike a traditional telemedicine benefit, this is a win-win-win for the district. Traditionally, you'll see a telemedicine benefit where there's either a cost to the plan sponsor, the employer, or a copay to the employee who uses it, or a claim to the health plan on the back end. This particular benefit, there is no cost to the employer. The employee does not have to pay a copay, so there's no cost to them to use the service, and there is no claim generated to our health plan, so it's a win-win-win. Salazar is also agreeing to provide some COBRA and flexible spending account administration services through a third-party vendor and some reconciliation of billings. The RJG group is proposing to provide us with some financial literacy education and webinars, as well as providing us access to some auditing software that may allow us to do some data mining in our medical plan claims. And finally, Keith & Keith Insurance is proposing to establish a scholarship with the eligibility of which to be determined by the district. So this concludes my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I have questions. Mr. Silva, I know in prior discussions we talked about how we wanted to kind of farm this out and give this to different agents, because one agent can represent, Blue Cross, Aflac, they represent all of them. But we have 75% according to the same company that we have right now. What's the rationale for that?
So a couple of things went into that decision. The direction for the committee was to select 3 agents and then assign the recommended products to those agents. So the committee went through a process to rank the agents. So the order you see here mirrors the ranking criteria. So the Salazar group was the top ranked of the agents, followed by RJG, followed by Keith & Keith. And so the products were kind of divided in that fashion. That was one criteria. The other part of this was that in certain cases, the assignment of the products were in essence already assigned. For example, I'll give you just an example of the Colonial product. Sometimes we see several agents named in the proposals. For Colonial, there was a single agent named, and the only one of the top 3 that were named for the Colonial product happened to be Salazar. So that one just kind of fit into that slot. Similarly, in other cases where there was only one of the top 3 would have been the Davis Vision and the United Healthcare. So while there were several agents named in those 2 proposals, only one of them was of the top 3 that were ranked. So again, that made that assignment that much easier. Where there was a little more discretion was where there was either no agent named or none of the top 3 agents were named, in which case the committee went through a process to see enrollment, to see what would be a fair assignment of those products.
Can I ask what the criteria of the ranking of those 3 is? Was it like, do you get 10 points if you've done business with the district before, so then automatically that person would rise to the top? Like, what was the criteria?
So it varied based on their experience. So there was a series of questions there was a task given to the 8 agents that were interviewed. It was a series of questions, their experience, the number of accounts they've had, the value-added services they're proposing. Can't think of the others, but then they scored it on a scale similar to how we do, at least it's my understanding, similar to how we do for teacher-type evaluations. So it's a scoring scale, but then it was then scored by purchasing. They evaluated the rankings and then came up with the top ranked, and then we went from that point.
I mean, I don't know how it was ranked, but it seems to me if there were 8 agents and we have 7 things here that we could have distributed 1 to each of them. And obviously, like if Colonial Life was only with 1, then that would automatically, they would pull that out and that's who they would have. I was just hoping to see more of, letting other community members with businesses as insurance agents work with McAllen ISD, because you can never get points in that rubric. If we're constantly using the same person, you never get those points in that. But I'll yield the floor.
We would have lost the value-added services, because in order for these vendors or agents to front the cost of, for example, the enrollment platform or the cost of the telemedicine, they all had a minimum requirement of the number of products that they would provide, depending on what they were offering. In some cases, there were agents that were asking to be the sole provider for all products. So obviously, that was not advantageous. So, but Mr. Silva, can you also please introduce the committee members? I believe some of them are present tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to take the opportunity before we concluded to thank the committee for their participation. I know there's some here in the audience. If I could ask them to stand. Let's see, Ms. Van back there. There's at least two. The whole group is comprised of 17 members. Because of their schedules, not all of them participated the entire time, but we definitely had a good core group, two of which are here with us. So we definitely want to thank them for their participation. We spent a lot of hours on this project in a very short period of time. They were very engaged, definitely asked a lot of tough questions, and definitely their participation was definitely valued and appreciated.
Did you say the number of, I know it's not just employees, or is this something that only employees can use, or is this something that members of their family can use to buy into this?
So this is strictly
employee?
It's an employee offered benefit, but they do have opportunities to buy family coverages. Yes.
So it's well over 3,000 people that could be.
Sure. If you'd like, I can go over the current enrollment to give you some idea of that if you'd like to see.
I mean, just ballpark, 5,000 people, 10,000 people?
So the highest enrollment is in our disability plan, we'll cover here in a bit, about 2,000 employees. The highest participation when it comes to the employees with either a child or a spouse, we're in upwards of 4,000 in the vision plan and 4,000 in the life insurance.
I would think with that kind of number, people would be throwing in the enrollment things and all that benefits for free to get our business. So I'll yield the floor.
They are paying the enrollment, I mean, they are covering the enrollment, right?
Yes,
Right.
Yes.
Platform?
But I'm just saying, of course they are.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a huge business. I mean, everybody would like to have I'll stop questioning.
I just wanted to say that I wanted to do it a little differently this time around because wanted to include employees because this is employees who voluntarily buy these plans. And so I wanted employees to have input as to who they wanted as far as the agents, because when they need them, they need to be available for them as needed. And so this was a recommendation by a committee of employees rather than administration.
No, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. Thank you so much. But just because it's a recommendation doesn't mean the board has to approve it also. So I'm just saying that as well. So, but thank you very much to the committee for doing all the work. I do appreciate it.
How's it going to work for like claim coordination, being that now there's going to be multiple providers there? How are the employees going to be made aware who to call for what product when they were used to just
one? Sure.
Yeah.
So the expectation will be that there will be one group taking the lead.
Okay.
I expect it to be the Southside Insurance Group. It's their platform. So it would be very similar to what we're doing now. They would take the lead on the enrollment. There'll be support from the others, but mostly on the back end, not necessarily face-to-face with our employees. It'd be one point of contact, one enrollment platform, one set of employees, one set of agent employees that our employees would have to work with.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering in case there was going to be any confusion as to, well, I was so used to calling this number when I needed something, now I don't know who to call, and so, thanks.
Do you have any further questions, discussion? I have a two-part motion here, so I'd like to entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the request for proposal number 2025-1000, voluntary supplemental insurance products and related services, and award the vendors identified on the attachment A for a term of 3 years from January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2027.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee De La Garza Lopez and a second by Trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay.
Aye.
The motion passes 5-1, and I have a second motion.
Madam President, I move to authorize the superintendent to execute the contract once the draft contract has been negotiated and any renewal applications and related contract documents.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Rivera and a second by Trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Andres Guadalupe Silva.
The next one is
And then 11D3, discussion and possible action on request for proposal number 2025 dash, I wrote all over my notes, 1018, short long-term disability insurance rebid. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration rebidded proposals from vendors for short-term and long-term disability products. Mr. Andres Silva, Director of Employee Benefits and Safety Risk Management, is also available to answer questions. We are recommending action on this item. Go ahead, Mr. Silva.
Yes, thank you. So yes, this is related to the earlier item. So originally, disability was part of the original RFP. We only received 2 responses, and the costs were considerably higher than current. So we came to you and rejected those bids, and then we did a rebid. And so the rebid, we did generate considerably more responses. Unfortunately, because of our high loss ratio, we weren't able to get as low as we currently have. There will be an increase. It's the most competitive of the group that submitted, but it's still a considerable increase. The recommended vendor is New York Life Group Benefit Solutions. Again, the service agent being Salazar Insurance Group. It'd be a new carrier, the comparable benefits. However, the cost is higher, 36% increase for the disability rates. As all open enrollment periods, I should note that employees will have the opportunity to make changes. For disability, there's several elimination periods. So the shorter elimination period, the higher the cost, so they can certainly adjust. There's opportunities to change the benefit amounts. That's also the case for life insurance. For any of the other benefits, they can change plans, they can move plans, they can add coverage or delete coverage. So as part of the enrollment education, this would be key in letting our employees know what the difference in the benefits are, if there are any, and what the difference in the cost. So that way they can make informed decisions for their benefits that will begin January 1st, 2025.
Go ahead. Anybody?
I have the same issue on this. I mean, insurance agents they can all represent AFAC, Hartford, New York Life, all that. It's the exact same issue that I had before.
Well, Mr. Silva, were there any other agents on this one besides the Salazar Group?
So yes, but none of the ones that were top 3.
Right. I mean, disability insurance, it's $1 million a year business. It's a massive business that someone's doing with us. So to give the same agent this business and give them the other four things too, that's what I take issue with, so I'll be voting no.
Did you have something to say? Or?
No, but, I guess I should add, was this also, this was the committee's recommendation, so it was a part, even though there are separate items on here, it's the committee's recommendation?
It was, yes, sir.
Okay.
Eric, does he? No? Okay. I need a motion on this.
I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Rivera and a second by Trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay.
Aye, nay, aye.
Trying to, okay, got it. Motion passes 5-1. And thank you again, Mr. Silva. Item 11D4, discussion and possible action.
There's a second motion.
For the contract.
There's a second motion?
Yes.
Is that to authorize
to
the superintendent?
Yes, authorize the superintendent.
Madam Chair, I move to authorize the superintendent to execute the contract once the draft contract has been negotiated and any renewal applications and related contract documents.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee De La Garza Lopez and a second by Trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification, Trustee De La Garza. Item 11D4, discussion and possible action on interlocal contract 2025-161 with the Department of Information Resources relating to the use of the DIR shared services master service agreements. Dr. Gutierrez.
The interlocal contract authorizes the district to participate in the Department of Information Resources Shared Services Program. Ms. Judith Escamilla, our Executive Director for Technology, is available to answer questions, and administration is recommending action on this item.
Do we have a presentation?
Do you need to just give us a brief review on this?
Good evening, board members, superintendent. This is basically an interlocal that we're going into. It's at zero cost. It will allow for us to leverage some of the solutions to safeguard different layers of cybersecurity. And it would save us approximately about $6,000 to $7,000 that we wouldn't have to put in as a district. So it's basically kind of like a pilot for us to try it out. It's free, and we can assess if it's something that we should leverage in the future.
Thank you.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Alicea and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Mrs. Camilla. Item 10D5, discussion and possible action on competitive sealed proposal number 2025-1017, safety security film application phase 2. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, administration solicited proposals for force entry resistant film. Mr. Ruben Trevino, our Executive Director for Facilities and Maintenance and Operations, is available to answer any questions. We are recommending action on this item, and it's a three-part action item.
Mr. Trevino, do you want to share some info on this, please?
Good evening, board members, Dr. Gutierrez. This is phase 2 of our safety security field installation. We received 5 solicitations. They've been ranked, and they are part of the packet.
We're paying out of a grant?
Yes, this is out of Safe Cycle 1.
So it's from grant money?
Grant fund.
That we're required to do this, correct?
That's correct.
Madam President, I move to authorize or to approve the ranking for selection of general contractor for competitive sealed proposal number 2025-1017, safety security film application phase 2.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those.
I have a quick question. Do we need to say who won? Does that, I mean, who ranked number 1? Who's
Do
getting
we
the
have
bid?
to?
What will happen is we'll go into negotiations with the highest ranked, and then if the negotiations are not successful, then we would move on to number 2, and so forth until a contract is reached.
So you'll give us a name at another time after.
So
right now
we're not voting on who we see as number 1. We're voting on 1 through 5.
The ranking, and then authorizing the superintendent to negotiate.
Okay, thank you for that clever. I apologize.
No worries. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 6-0.
Madam Chair, I move to approve that administration begin the negotiations with the highest ranked contractor. If the district is unable to negotiate a satisfactory contract with the selected contractor, the district shall formally and in writing end negotiations with that contractor and proceed with the next in the order of the selection ranking until the contract is reached or all submittals are rejected.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee De La Garza Lopez and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 6-0. Next
Madam President, I move to authorize the superintendent to execute a contract in accordance with the procedures set out in Texas Government Code Section 2269.254 once contract negotiations have been successfully achieved.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 6-0. Item 11D6, discussion and possible action to advertise for a request for qualifications for legal services for property damage claim. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, on April 28th, 2023, the district experienced property damage losses due to a weather event. Mr. Silva is here to provide and update any information possible for this RFQ in the event that the board wants the district to go out for an RFQ to seek representation.
Yes, good evening again. So yes, I'm going to provide a little background on this. So on April 29th, late evening the 28th, early the 29th, there was a storm that came through the area. As a result, we did have some damage and we filed an insurance claim that is open. This is a summary from the National Weather Service. Basically what they're saying is that this was a storm that had winds between 75 and 85 miles an hour. It had a path about 28 miles long and 6 miles wide. Most of the damage, even though here they make reference to some large hail, most of the damage in our area, in our campuses, in our facilities, was primarily related to the wind. So we did file an insurance claim on the 29th, which was on a weekend, so ultimately it reached the carriers on that following Monday, which was the 1st. Soon thereafter, there was a independent adjusting firm of Sedgwick that was assigned and made contact with us. They in turn contracted some cost and property damage consultants, Young and Associates. Inspections were done May 8th through June 12th of all our facilities, noting all the damage. For the majority of those walkthroughs, some of our facilities folks were on hand to either provide access and or to point out some of the damage that had already been documented by our staff. On January 8th through the 12th, there was some subsequent reinspection of some roofs. And soon after the initial damage assessment, the insurance company did advance us $1.5 million toward the claim. In terms of the scope of the damage, it was district-wide, but it did vary in severity. Some areas had very minor damage where some unsecured, lighter outdoor property may have been blown over or moved. We may have had some downed trees or limbs, all the way up to some major damage, including some structural damage. We had some roofs that were either completely blown over or partially blown over, and including some damage to some structures in one particular gym. So, oops, skipped way. Seems to be out of order, but this is an example of the damage. This is by no means the entirety of it. Just some examples. On the top left is a portable that had its roof blown off. Subsequently, the walls came down. The roof partially landed on top of the building, as you can see there. On that photo in the center, it's a very large tree that was blown over. That tree is the one that caused some structural damage to a beam on that gym. That's the Seguin gym. That photo next to that on the right is an example of some of the fence blown damages. Moving back down to the left bottom, that's another example of where a small outbuilding roof was partially blown over. If you look at that picture in the van, there's some debris on the ground. That's the roof that was blown over, and you'll see what looks like a matchstick on the ground. That's the utility pole that I suspect was damaged when that roof hit it. In the center there is a light pole at the tennis courts at Mac High that was blown over. And there on the last photo, there's another example of a roof that was completely blown over, and that was at Mac High. So in terms of the insurance claim, for all intents and purposes, it's complete. The last step would be to authorize Sedgwick to prepare the final documents and issue the final settlement statement of loss, and we would bring that to you for review and approval. If the district accepts that, there's still an outstanding $981,436 that would be due. The total net recoverable claim on this was $2.8 million, and minus the $1.5 advance that we've already received, leaves that $981,000. So in terms of next steps, and options could include soliciting for assistance in trying to establish whether or not there's additional money to be recovered. And here for you are some potential dates for that. working with purchasing, we developed these. These are the earliest we could put out a request for qualifications. One with, I believe it's 3 weeks in between for responses to come in, the other one for 4. There is a holiday in there, so that's really the major difference. And we bring that to you for a recommended action on either December the 10th or January the 14th, if you decide to go that route. I'm here to answer any questions. As far as the process, my office was the liaison with the insurance group, the insurance carriers. If you have any questions on damages, the cost, repairs, for that I'd have to ask Mr. Trevino to come and assist me with those.
I do actually have a question. Sorry to make you get up again, but it'll be quick. So do we believe that there are other damages that maybe this Young and Associates didn't find in their investigation?
Do we believe, I mean, to the best of my knowledge, I mean, everything that we've submitted to date has been approved and accepted by the carrier that we currently have. Nothing has been denied to this point. That there's additional damage out there, that's yet to be seen if somebody was to go out there and do some further inquiry or investigation on it.
I would imagine they would have to do their own investigation, right? If
Correct.
if you're going out with counsel. Okay. And does that, these next steps, does that give them sufficient time to? I would imagine, because we're running up on a statute of limitations date coming up in April of next year. I would imagine it would give them time, right? But I would imagine time is of the essence too, I'm sure.
Yeah, so that we'd have to actually defer to the advice of whomever we contract on, how much time we have to go through either a complete reevaluation. As you can imagine, a lot of the damage has already been either repaired, cleaned up, so we'd have to rely on the documentation that's available, and there is a lot of it, a lot of pictures. There's obviously a lot of estimates that were provided not only by the Young and Associates groups based on the damage they saw, but a lot of the damage documentation that the facilities as well as our police department and other departments did early on in the process.
Thanks.
Mr. Go ahead.
Oh, so I'm glad that this finally came to the board. I know I had been mentioning it since originally. I know I had talked to you, Mr. Trevino, about whether or not we were going to get our own representation after this windstorm, because we, did see a lot of the damage around town and even at our own children's schools. I think it's important that we have someone that represents us and our interest. We have an obligation as a board to our community that our buildings are safe and sound. And I know insurance companies are quick to pay what we ask for because it might be less than what truly is underneath some of those bones. And so I am all for us having experts that represent us and a legal team that represents us, and that this is their primary and only business, because if we go back and remember the hailstorm of 2012, our insurance had offered us, I forgot the number, but after we contracted with an adjuster that represented us, that number was doubled, and we were able to complete a lot of the damage that was done, whether visible or invisible to the naked eye. But I think given the age of our facilities, something this drastic of a windstorm could have a lot more implications to the damage of those buildings and the structure than maybe we see as our employees who may not be experts, or that the insurance wants to relay until it may be too late when we have leaks or AC issues and other problems going forward. So I think that this is key to ensuring the safety and the structure of our facilities.
I agree. I move we go out for an RFQ. What's the actual motion language that we need?
Advertise for a request for qualifications.
Just as it reads there, advertise for a request for qualifications for legal services.
For property damage claim.
Oh.
11D6.
Yeah, 11D6.
11D6. I'll let somebody else make the motion because I'm on board book and it doesn't have the language that we have in our.
Okay. Madam Chair, I move to approve the administration to advertise for a request for qualifications for legal service for a property damage claim.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee De La Garza Lopez and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 6-0. Item 11E1, discussion and possible action for Board of Education meeting minutes. 11E1A, regular board meeting October 8th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Aliceda and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 6-0. 11E2, discussion and possible action to approve Board of Trustees travel. The Board of Trustees, Dr. Gutierrez.
That the Board of Trustees approve the travel request to attend the Texas Association of School Boards TASB Legal Seminar at South Padre Island, Texas, November the 16th, 2024. Administration is recommending action on this item. This is a one-day legal seminar.
Is this necessary? I thought none of us were going to be going.
It's a one day. We don't have to stay.
No, I realize that, but I'm asking, is it necessary? Is anybody going?
It's not required. It's optional.
I'm not going.
Well, I was going to go, but I
you
don't
go. Yes.
need to go.
Well, I guess the first question is it budgeted funds? Do we have it in our budget, or would this be an amendment to the budget of this, of the board?
I think we have travel money for the board.
It would just be the registration, right?
Yeah, just the
Yeah,
registration.
no need to stay. Go up and do the seminar and come right
Yeah,
back.
if it's
Not a-
budgeted funds, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee De La Garza Lopez and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 6-0. Item 12, recess to closed session. Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.089 Texas Government Code to discuss the following. Item 12A, Human Resources Recommendations for School Year 2024-2025. Item 12B, Discussion of Human Resource Employee Resignations and Retirees for School Year 2024-2025. 12C, Discussion of Superintendent's Appraisal Instrument. 12D, Discussion regarding School Safety and Security. 12E, Pending and/or Potential Litigation. 12F, Possible Real Estate Acquisition. At 6:52 p.m., we are in closed session. At 8:16 p.m., we are back in open session, and we are at item 14A, discussion and possible action of human resources recommendations for school year 2024-2025. Dr. Gutierrez.
Human Resources is submitting a list of recommendations for the 2024-2025 school year under a separate cover for discussion during closed session. Administration is recommending action on this item.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Regalado and a second by trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries 5-0. Item 14B, discussion of human resources, employee resignations, and retirees for school year 2024-2025. Dr. Gutierrez.
Human Resources submitted a list of resignations and retirees for the 2024-2025 school year under a separate cover for discussion during closed session. This item is for information purposes only.
Thank you. Item 14C, discussion and possible action of superintendent's appraisal instrument. Item 14D, discussion regarding school safety. Proceed as directed, Mr. Ball?
Okay.
As discussed in closed session.
Correct.
And item 14D, discussion regarding school safety and security. Nothing to report.
Nothing to report.
And then 14E, pending and/or potential litigation, Mr. Ball?
Nothing to report.
14F, possible real estate acquisition, Mr.
Same
Ball.
announcement.
And I'd like to entertain a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Second.
Nobody wants to leave. I have a motion by trustee Regalado and a second by trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And all those opposed signify by saying nay. We are adjourned at 8:18.